to episode 1 of Suburban Death Metal Dad bonus tracks. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about some artwork that I like from mostly extreme metal bands, but there could be some other stuff in there. So, like I said, the reason I want to do this is just to talk about other things besides the music, because I feel like the artwork, the packaging, the lyrics, liner notes, thanks lists, all that stuff, knowing who the band members are, is part of the whole experience. And, like me, a die-hard music fan, I want to have the physical copy, with all that stuff. So anyway, these are just 10 that I, really like. It's not like my top 10 of all time or anything like that. It's just going to be kind of random. This is in, no order of favorites, the least favorite or whatever. So having said that, I'm going to kick things off with one of my favorites, which is Benediction, Dark as the Season. And I just really, really like this one. It's got the big face in the sky, the ravens coming out of the eye sockets. It's just super cool. Wish I had something larger than just a CD booklet, but that's all I got. And the other thing about this one, and I've looked and tried to find out, I don't see the artist's name anywhere in the artwork, and it's not listed in the booklet or anything, like who the artist was. And I looked online and everything, I couldn't find anything, so I have no idea who did this. So it'd be great to find out, because like I said, super great artwork. Next up, another cool one from the 90s. Band needs no introduction, and they have other really great artwork, but this is maybe my favorite of all of it. That is Impetigo, Horror of the Zombies. And this shows that the artist was Cannibal91, and I actually looked that up online, and the guy's name was Jim Rising, and he just passed away pretty recently. I think it was 2023. And I believe he did the first album as well. I guess the original uncensored artwork on the first one. Not 100% sure, didn't look into it, but that's kind of what I'm assuming. But maybe that's not correct. Okay, moving on to some LPs. This one, another very cool one from the 90s. And the artist, this is the only album artwork I could find that he had done, when I looked online. Like, there's no other album artworks I can find, so it's kind of like a one-off or something. Seemed like he was working with their record label at the time. Anyway, this one is Cancer, Death Shall Rise. Very cool artwork, and love the album title too. One of my favorites, for death metal, Death Shall Rise. Super cool, great album. Got James Murphy playing lead guitar. How can you go wrong there? It's just, a great album. It's not necessarily my favorite from the band, but it's definitely one of the favorites. Next up, another artist that I didn't really find that he'd done any other work on any album artworks or anything like that. So this might be a one-off as well. I'm not 100% sure. But this band has a lot of great album covers, I think, and love their logo too. One of the best in black metal, in my opinion. And even though this isn't a black metal album, and it's not one of my favorites from them, but I love the artwork. That's Dark Throne, Soulside Journey. And this is just, I don't know, a mysterious one, kind of creepy. It's got that big machine or whatever that is hanging in the sky, and then what maybe are souls on the ground. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but for me it looks super cool. The artwork, the colors, everything. I think that's a great one. Even if, I don't necessarily love the album, artwork's great. So, next one. Great band, great artist. One that I believe needs no introduction if you're into death metal, for sure. You'll definitely have come across his artwork at some point, probably many, many times like me. And this is one of the favorites of mine, and great album too. I'm talking about Deceased, The Blueprints for Madness. And I think that artwork really goes well with the album title. It's looks like a crazy guy and a bunch of doctors behind the glass, and something pretty sick is going on. I don't think that's good medical care right there, but great album, 1995. And this one, the artist did do some other covers for the band and some other semi-known German bands, Protector and Mekong Delta. I'm actually a newer fan to both those bands. I mean, when I say newer, like within the last 10 years or a little more, maybe 10 to 15 years. And anyway, this is a piece of artwork that, I saw it in the store when it was released. Even I never heard the band or anything. And it's super sick. And it's Destruction, Release from Agony. It's super horrifying creature there, with eyeballs in its hands and fangs and, IVs going into its head, it looks like, or I should say its original eye sockets, I suppose. And it's just super sick artwork. And I believe Shamir, the bassist vocalist for Destruction, has this tattooed on his arm, that creature. But yeah, super sick. Love that one. And going back to an artist already mentioned, but this is actually a newer release, and this is probably one of my favorites from him that he had done for the band, because he's done multiple covers for the band and they're all pretty good, but this is maybe my favorite of his from the work he's done with this band, and that's Autopsy Skull Grinder. Also a great album, or EP, whichever. It's 7 songs, it's not too long, but just that Reaper character pushing these helpless humans into a skull grinder, it would seem, and blood and guts coming out of the mouth. Just, yeah, total death metal. That's Autopsy through and through, in my opinion. Next one is another, I believe, kind of a one-off artist. There might have been one other thing he'd done, slips my mind right now, but this is possibly my favorite album from the band, or at least in the top 5 for sure, or top 3 maybe. But the artwork is definitely one of my favorite pieces that this artist had done for the band, and his or her name is Danny Vela, and that's Marduk, Dark Endless. And I just love it. It's super creepy and weird. It has that giant eyeball like melting. I just love that stuff, that weird stuff, eyeball stuff, pulls me right in. And like I said, that's a killer album, one of my favorites from the band. And this one is, compared with the others, more mainstream, but when I show this one, it's another one, really needs no introduction, I don't believe. And he did a ton of artwork for the band for many years, or a good number of years, I should say. And then they broke ties or whatever. He doesn't do artwork for them anymore, but I believe his era was absolutely the best, along with the albums that were released during that time. And I'm talking about Derek Riggs, who did artwork for Iron Maiden. And this is definitely one of my favorites, one of the favorite albums of mine as well, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, 1988. And the Arctic, with Eddie there, partial Eddie, I should say, and it wraps around, and there's quite a bit going on. Maybe, well, I would say maybe definitely not as much as Somewhere in Time, but still, I don't think he's really done any bad work for the band that I'm aware of. Of course, there's favorites, and like I said, this is one of mine. All right, coming up to the last one, which is actually a soundtrack for a Japanese horror movie called Kansen, or Infection, as it's translated into English. And this was released in 2004, and it's a great horror movie. It takes place in a hospital in the dark. It's very dark in there. It's creepy, but this is the original artwork from Japan that's on the soundtrack, and probably their DVD, I would assume. And it just looks super creepy, in my opinion, if you can see that. And I also have here the DVD, the US release, and the cover is pretty sick too, but that one's better. I mean, this one's more gross than I'm going to show, but that one's creepier, in my opinion. Sometimes I go for the creepy over the gory, and that's the US DVD. And like I said, if you're a fan of horror, this is super creepy, and it's a really good one, even with subtitles. I normally watch my foreign films with subtitles, because usually when they change the dub to English, it just never fits right, in my opinion. I'd rather just read subtitles and hear the original language. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.